G'day, welcome to the show. Salt Covers back here. I feel like this is just part of my intro now. Back here, back after another rough night. We went 1-3 last night. Our only winner was the game that we took mid-video, last video. We went and took the Cavs -6.5 at Orlando. Took that as we saw the lines move. So, look, love to see that. The Cavs won that game by 40. So, yeah, like that, yeah. That was a really impressive win. I've been saying that I want to find spots to take the Magic, but damn, you can't lose by 40 into the Cavs. We also had the Rockets -3.5. They won by 3. It's another game that we lost by the hook. We're going to show you all of our bad beats in a moment because there have just been some real bad beats since we started recording YouTube. Love to see it, but hey, keep it moving. We also had the over in that game. Now, that game finished at 197 points, so it went well under, but that game, like, look, it was on pace to go over. They scored 27 points in the fourth quarter. Let's quickly have a look at how likely was the over before that fourth quarter? Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure we got some good CLV on that pick as well. Where are you? No, it doesn't say. Look, I think that game, like, it closed at 227.5. Might have gotten a point or half a point of CLV. Let's just take a look. Let's see how likely it was. Yeah, so... Okay, so the over was a 50... Alright. With 1 minute left in the third quarter, the over had a 63% chance of winning, which... Like, we'll take that. And then here, I just want to pop this up as well. Let's see if I can pop this up. Look, go to Stats Insider. It's a pretty decent website. It does give, like, projections against the spread. Doesn't really give much, like, actionable edges, but it is interesting to look at the, like, cover probabilities and the live total probabilities. And yeah, you just see this game, it just went, like, 27 points in the fourth quarter, like... We move. We also have the Grizzlies -7. We've taken the Grizzlies after a loss as home favorites. That game did see some sharp movement towards the Suns just before tip-off, so look, we'll deal with it. So yeah, another losing night. Let's just go have a look at some of our bad beats since we've started recording. So we had the over 229.5 Spurs in Phoenix. Spurs won 120 to 109. 220. We lost that by the hook. We also took the Grizzlies -1.5. Got some great CLV on that in Orlando. Memphis won by 1. We also took the Timberwolves in Houston +4.5. Houston won by 6. And now today, Bucks in Houston, took Houston -3.5. Houston won by 3. Alright. Enough looking back. Let's look forward. Let's have a look at these games today. Alright. The first game. And we were just... No, not the Dallas Mavericks. First game is the Pistons in Boston. Let me just pull up a few more things. Really don't want to pull up my record, but there it is. Gotta keep things transparent, you know. Alright, here we have these Pistons in Boston. Both teams riding big winning streaks. Boston have just been winning, and they've been winning a lot. They actually didn't cover against the Raptors, though. I think the Raptors were like +10, +11. Celtics beat the Raptors by 10 in Toronto. Now they come to Detroit on a back-to-back. Spread opened at 4.5. Some books opened at 3.5. Now it's like a consensus 4.5. Terms of projections has us at 4.5. So look, nothing from me here on the spread. We have the 5th best team against the spread in the Pistons. We have the 25th best team against the spread in the Celtics. Look, honestly, I lean Detroit. Boston do have Cleveland on deck. They're playing Cleveland. They've got a day off, then they're playing the Cavs. They're certainly going to be looking ahead to that matchup, but look, I just can't. You can't bet against Boston at the moment. They're 3-0 against the Pistons this season. Total wise, projected at 226.5, to open at 225.5. Now at 226. Look, nothing really there. Total wise, let's keep it moving to what was one of the most wacky opening lines we've seen. So, Raptors in Indy, Raptors at Pacers. We have the spread open at 9.5, now at 10. Projections got this at Pacers minus 7.4, so a small edge towards the Raptors. Raptors, 4th best team at covering the spread this season. They've been covering these big spreads this whole season, and now here's another one for you. You know, a nice stat that I've found is that the Pacers are 5-10 against the spread when they're playing teams that have won less than 40% of their games. That's a nice little edge. That's a nice little spot to bet against the Pacers. Looks like they play down to their competition. They let these bad teams hang around. Look. God, I am tempted to take the Raptors, but we have seen this line move towards Indiana, so I'm just going to stay off it. Nothing from me here on the spread, but the total. Whew. So, when this game first opened, it opened at Bet365 at 239. Opened at some other books at 236. Most books had it at 236, so as soon as we saw that that lone 239, we had to slam it. Got the under 239 for 3 units. Now, interesting thing, Pacers, they are 17-4 to the over after a loss. So, look, you know, this last week or two, we've seen a lot of line movement, and the line has been moving, and if you've been betting against the line movement just before tip-off, you've probably been doing pretty well. So this could be an opportunity to go over. I mean, 17-4 to the over after a loss. They lost to Denver last game. Could be an over spot. Like, look, I'm going to sit on my plus CLV ticket. We got the under 239. Projections have this at 231. So nice little edge towards the under. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, not going to play it back on the over. Just going to sit nice and good with that under 239. Next game is the Sixers in New York. God. Those Sixers, man, it's just a sad group. So we had the spread open at 9.5, now at 10. Nothing really there. We have the Sixers, who are the 2nd worst team against the spread. Knicks, 19th. Projections have it at Knicks minus 10.7, so nothing really there spread-wise. Look, Knicks coming off two losses and 2 big games. They lost to the Celtics, lost to the Cavs. It seems like a bounce-back spot for the Knicks. I swear the last 5 games have meant to be bounce-back spots for the Sixers. Yeah, just that Bulls game and that Nets game saw sharp movement towards the Sixers, who already had big spreads for them, and they just lose both outright. Yeah, nothing from me here on the spread. Total wise, nice little edge for the over here. Total open at 232, now at 230. So we have seen some movement towards the under. Look, let's see if there's anything here trend-wise for the over. Knicks, 17-3 to the over as home team. Sixers as road dogs. Sixers are 7-8 to the over as road dogs. How about just on the road? Sixers are 15-10 to the over on the road. Look, there is a nice edge here to the over, but I'm not going to play it. Both teams have just been struggling. You'd think they would play some defense. Also, two low pace teams. This is definitely this total compared to some of the other totals these teams have had. This is way above any of their previous matchups. Like most of them have been around 220, 225. So look, nothing from me here on the total. Let's keep it pushing along. Got lots of games to go through, so we might have to just gloss over a few of these uglier games. Next, we have the Trailblazers in Washington. Trailblazers, top 6 team against the spread, opened at -5.5, now seeing sixes. Projections got this at Trailblazers -7.7. You know, with the Wizards, I'm pretty stunned that they're playing Middleton. Like Middleton started the last game. Marcus Smart also played. He played like 20 minutes off the bench. Like, very interesting to see, given that like they're tanking. Like they could probably buy those guys out and not have to pay them as much, save a bit of money. But they're playing. So yeah, look, not a bad spot to take the Blazers. I just want to hold off a few. Like we did see the Wizards just win as dogs versus the Nets. It is the Nets. I just want to see how they play. Having these two vets getting some court time. Like maybe they'll start to play a bit better. Look, this is certainly like as biggest spread. Like this is probably the biggest spread Portland's had for them this whole season. Look, nothing from me here on the spread. We do see projections. 224, game open at 229, now at 231. So since some movement towards the over. Let's see if there are any trends for Portland or for the Wizards. Portland on the road. What are they? God, Portland are 10-17 to the under as a away team. That is very interesting. I know Wizards home games, they are generally an over spot. Wizards, 4th best team in pace. Yeah, look, I'm not going to fade the market on this one. There is a spot later in the episode where I am fading the market. Not going to fade the market twice in one day. Let's just keep it moving. I do like the under. Like, put a gun to my head, like I'm taking the under. That's not a bad stat. Portland 10-17 to the under on the road. Wizards top 4 team in pace. Blazers middle of the pack. Blazers 6th worst over team. Look, yeah, not going to touch this one. Just want to see how the Wizards play with these new vets in the lineup. Let's keep it moving. Next, oh god, these poor Nets, man. Next, we have the Thunder in Brooklyn. Spread opened at 16.5, now at 17. Projections got this at 17.5, so right there. OKC, 3rd best team against the spread. Nets, 10th best. Look, yeah. OKC coming off a loss, coming off a game they should have won. Like, you'd think they're probably going to blow out the Nets in this, but it's just a lot of points delay. You know, one thing I'm going to look at is who are OKC playing next. Is this any sort of a look-ahead spot for them? OKC, they're not playing the day after. Next game, they are in Atlanta, so not much of a look-ahead spot. Look, not going to touch the spread. Total is 216. Opened at 216 now, or 216.5, now at 216. Yeah, look, not going to touch this one. I will just quickly look. How's OKC done after a loss against the total? They are 7-3 to the over after a loss. I think OKC team total over might be worth a look, but yeah, look. Let's keep it moving. Like, there's lots of games on. If you're watching this one, like, you're sick. Next, we have the Hawks in Miami. So, we have the Hawks in Miami. They just played a few days ago. Hawks won by 12 in a game that didn't even crack 190. Hawks won 98-86. Like that's just, and like that was a Hawks home game. I've been saying like those Hawks home games, like those are over spots. I mean, we saw the Hawks and the Pistons. They got up to like 290, and then this game is 190. Just crazy. Spread opened at opened at Heat -1. Now at Heat -2.5. So it seems like some movement towards Miami. Our projections have this at only Heat half a point, basically a pick 'em. Heat fourth worst team against the spread. Hawks around league average. Look, yeah, not really touching the spread, but the total opened at 228 at most books. We got it at 227.5. Now, look, I looked at this against the projections. Obviously, the projections they say slightly under, but for me, we saw these two teams play a day ago in Miami, where the total opened at 220. Yeah, opened around 227 and steamed up to around 232. Now, that game did go ahead and fall well short of that total, but for me, I looked at that and I was like, look, that game closed at 232 with a lot of like betting information. Like these bookmakers, like they move the lines for a reason. It means they're getting action on the over. Now these teams are playing again. Look, I think it's a bit of an overreaction to how that game turned out. I've found a 227.5, which I took. So yeah, we took that for 2.5 units. For me, it's just a market read. Yeah, look, the last game it closed at around 232, opened at 227. So we've got 227.5 over. Now it's at 230s, 230.5. So gotten some decent CLV on that. I know Heat home games have been a small overspot. Wow, actually a bit more of an overspot. They're 15-8 to the over as home team. Hawks. Where are you, Atlanta? Atlanta basically 500 to the over on the road, but look, we'll take that. It's got some nice CLV on it at the moment. Probably wouldn't play into 230.5. Look, follow me on Twitter if you want to get these picks straight away. Also like and sub. Yes, we're down pretty bad at the moment, but look, we're gonna keep it going. We're not just gonna quit because we've had some losing tickets. I hope that like the information I provide to you guys, it's at least somewhat useful. If it is, make sure you like, sub. I haven't been mentioning that, but yeah, look, all that good stuff. Here, just trying to grind out a new channel. Look, enough on that. Enough on this game. We've got the over 227.5. Let's move on to the Clippers in Chicago. This is an interesting one because, this line opened at -6.5. Projections got this at -6. Now, I think that's because the Clippers, like the home road splits are really bad, and I do try to factor that into these projections. But yeah, Clippers only -6 now, -8.5, juice towards the Clippers as well. So definitely a Clippers spot. They've been coming off some bad losses. They lost to the Pistons. They lost to the Pacers. Kawhi's not on the injury report. Powell is confirmed out. He's been really good for them. Yeah, it looks like their offense have been struggling without him. Look, yeah, if you got a 6.5 or a 7, good on you. Me personally, I'm not going to be playing 8.5 like this. The Clippers just haven't been good on the road, and like, just the Bulls are just the most confusing team. Like they traded Levine. Like you'd think, all right, like they're gonna start tanking, but they just keep winning games, keep hanging around. Like honestly, like Bulls numbers kind of nice. But they are coming off a, like a big win. Could be a bit of a letdown spot. The Clippers are going to be hungry. Nothing from me here on the spread. Total open at 229.5. Now at 229. Projections got it 227. Look, not enough from me here to like. I'd lean under. Like the Clippers are going to come out and they're going to come out and play some defense. The Bulls beat the Clippers in LA last time they played. Kawhi's back. He's good for their defense as well, but Look, the Bulls are liable to have a 240, 260. Like, they just play so fast and shoot so many threes. Yeah, not playing this. Let's keep it moving. Next, we have the Kings in Utah. This was a line that just I didn't agree with one bit, but yeah, so this line opened at Kings minus 8.5, which I looked at it and I was just like, that is way too many points to be giving the Kings. Like, they shouldn't be favored by that much against anyone on the road. So look, I took minus 8.5 for 3 units, and now we see it move to 9.5. So got a bad ticket there, playing against the market on this one. But look, I still really like it. I'm not a fan of this Kings team. Like I've said, there's just too many chefs in the kitchen. Like, there's only one ball. You need to share that between Levine, DeRozan, Sabonis, Monk, and like Keegan Murray, the fifth starter. Like, he kind of needs the ball as well. Look, projections got this at Kings minus 3.9, so a big edge towards Utah there. So yeah, look, I've taken Utah plus 8.5 for 3 units. I'd still play it at 9.5. I like the Jazz. They've been like sneakily covering some games that they probably shouldn't have. They beat the Rockets last time outright as like 10-point dogs. Now, same position. Give me some Jazz. Total open at 235.5, now at 236.5, projected at 238. I also like the over in this game as well. Played that for 3 units. Look, yeah, Jazz, high-paced team. Kings, also a high-paced team. Let's just have a look at some of the previous matchups just to get a feel for how they have closed relative to the final spread. I'm pretty sure most of their games have had some over movement in the market. So let's just quickly double check that. Kings and Jazz, but this is a game that you can bet it, but please don't watch it. This is going to be a bad game to watch. Where are you? So yeah, look, 2 out of these 3 games have finished at around 240. One of them finished at around 210. Sacramento lead this season series 3-0 at the moment. Bear with me for one moment as I pull up the opening and closing lines for these games. Won't be a moment.
One pair of pants later.
Okay, we are back after some quick research. So, the last game the Jazz and the Kings played opened at 227, closed at 234. So, some clear over movement in that game. Game number 2 opened at 228, stayed at 228, but went well over. Wow. The first game that they played this season opened at 223, closed at 235. It did go well under, but obviously no Fox now. But look, Jazz play, they're a pace-up team. They're 4th in the league in pace. Jazz are 12th in the league in pace. Kings are 14th, but we've got 2 teams that are over teams. Give me the over for 3 units. I just don't see much defense being played in this game. We do see Clarkson is in, Markkanen is out, but Walker Kessler questionable as well. We'll see how that turns out. Moving on to the last, or I think that's the last game on this slate. We will double check that. Last game, or next we have the Spurs and Rockets. It is the last game. So, Spurs and Rockets, both teams coming into this on a back-to-back. We saw the spread opened at 9.5. I think it moved to 8.5. Now back at 9.5. Look, nothing from me here on the spread. I lean Houston. This Spurs team, you just got to fade them. They're a bit lost without Wemby. Total opened at 224.5. I've seen some movement towards the over, now at 228. Look, nothing from me here on the total, so let's move on to our best bets. And we will take away the odds screen. So, best bets, we have some decent tickets today. We have, well, this first one, Raptors in Indiana, we had the under 239. You can see that ticket down below. 3 units at $1.90. Like that's a really good position to be in. We also have the Heat in Atlanta. Sorry, that should be Atlanta in Miami, over 227.5, 2.5 units at $1.88. We will take that. We also have the Kings in Utah. We took that line early at Utah minus 8.5. You can get a like a cheap 9.5 for now. Look, there's not going to be many times where I say fade the market. I reckon this is a great spot to fade the market. I wouldn't be surprised to see this line go back to around 9 or even 8. Like, I just don't think this Kings team should be favored by 9.5 on the road to anyone. We also like the over in that game as well. Over still playable in my opinion. So look, another big card. Let's put it. Let's have our first winning day. How about that? Like, not asking for much. Let's have our first winning day. And until next time, let's get them books salty.